Thank you, Mr President. Can I ask the Chief Minister whether the Isle of Man Government Brussels office has reported on the impact of the European Parliament's investigation into the action plan for a single EU VAT area and any changes to VAT which may come into force prior to Brexit, and if he'll make a statement?
On the Chief Minister to reply.
Thank you, Mr President. The European Commission's Action Plan on VAT was published in April 2016 and received the support of the European Parliament in November of that year. The Action Plan sets out a number of measures to modernise EU VAT rules, including the key principles for a future single European VAT system, short-term measures to tackle VAT fraud, an update to the framework for VAT rates to set out options for granting member states with greater flexibility in setting these rates, plans to simplify VAT rules for e-commerce in the context of the digital single market strategy, and for a comprehensive VAT package to make life easier for small and medium-sized enterprises. The Isle of Man Brussels office has ensured that the Isle of Man Customs was aware of the action plan. I would also add that, in addition, the Isle of Man Customs and Excise Division works closely with HMRC in the UK and has quarterly governance meetings where the EU's proposals on VAT are regularly covered. Of course, the UK is the responsible member state in respect of VAT, and under the terms of the Customs and Excise Agreement, the Isle of Man must keep its VAT rules in line with those in the UK and the EU more broadly. The Action Plan on VAT proposes a number of measures which will make their way through the European legislative process and will subsequently be implemented through our own legislative process by Isle of Man Customs and Excise. Naturally, any changes which come into effect before Brexit will need to be introduced in the Isle of Man. The effects of any changes introduced after Brexit will depend on the nature and scope of the UK's withdrawal agreement and whether it includes an interim or transitional arrangement. How that will apply to the Isle of Man and the other Crown dependencies, and also on the nature of the UK's new relationship with the EU. We do not envisage there being any changes to our long-standing relationship in relation to our customs and excise agreement, other than very minor consequential amendments to reflect the new relationship with the European Union.
Supplementary, Ms Edge.
Thank you, Mr President. On the 9th of May this year, representatives from the government financial sector of Jersey, Guernsey and Gibraltar held a meeting with the Panama Committee over cooperation in tax matters within the European jurisdiction. Could the Chief Minister say if the island was represented at this meeting, and if not, why not?
Chief Minister.
I'm sorry, Mr President, I don't have any information in relation to that. It wasn't under the remit of the question, but I'm more than happy to write to all honourable members by the end of today, giving them that update.
Further supplementary, Ms Edge.
I'm sure you're aware, Chief Minister, that on the 5th of December, the European Commission will be putting forward a list of non-cooperative tax jurisdictions. Would the Chief Minister assure the Court that, as the island was not present at this meeting in May, that it will not affect our classification as being non-cooperative?
I think we're straying somewhat from the question paper, but Chief Minister.
Thank you, Mr President. The Isle of Man cannot attend certain EU meetings on that sort of area. The UK is there to represent us, but I can assure the Honourable Court that we do take this topic exceedingly serious and have been actively working to ensure that the Isle of Man remains fully compliant.